G'day gamers, Aussie Wargamer here in Moree, Australia, and welcome to my channel. On this episode, I'll be teaching you how to make unique characters to flesh out the background for your armies. So let's get to it, eh? Creating your own unique characters in your army can be a lot of fun and can provide interesting background and lore that helps you play your army narratively, even in a competitive context. For me, a big part of tabletop gaming is telling stories on the tabletop, whether that's through RPGs or board games or miniature games. With unique characters, those stories you tell become more interesting, more engaging, and I think more fun. These narrative elements take a very little effort and can transform your gaming experience from just moving around your miniatures and rolling dice to a much more immersive gaming experience. And how much you play your games according to the character of your armies is entirely up to you. For me, if I have several options in a game, I ask myself, what would that character or that unit do in that situation? That way, my games make more sense narratively and the story can unfold on the table. When I'm making unique characters, I usually ask myself 3 questions. The first one is, who is this character? By that, I don't mean the deep philosophical who. Rather, imagine your character is filling out an online dating profile. What's their name? Where are they from? How old are they? What's their job? That kind of basic information. Let's take this guy. He's a member of me Mordheim warband and needs some background. Let's call him Samuel Bennett. That's a good piratey name, but he needs a good piratey nickname. I reckon Chumbucket. Samuel Chumbucket Bennett. Well, let's have a look at this map of the Empire to see where he's from. How about we say he's from Carraburg, and he and the crew pillage and plunder the Sea of Chaos. So now we have Samuel Chumbucket Bennett from Carraburg, who's a pirate that sails on the Sea of Chaos. Well, the next question we need to ask is, why are they there? What brings them to the battlefield? What brings them to that army in particular? I think for characters, it's a good idea to try to delve a little more deeply than just, they're a soldier in the army and were commanded to fight. Maybe they're indebted to the army general, or maybe they're fighting for a cause that they believe in. Chumbucket here, I reckon he was a farmer in his previous life, but struggled to feed his family. So he headed off to Marienburg to find his fortune. After months of little to no success, he met the pirate Captain Black Bart Whiffleheim in a pub and joined his crew. When the twin-tailed comet hit Mordheim, Whiffleheim and his crew heard of the treasures to be had, so they sailed up the River Reich to the City of the Damned. So knowing why your character is there helps with the overall narrative of your games. So think about the circumstances that led to your character fighting in your army or warband. The final question ties into the last one, and that is, what do they want? What are they hoping to get out of their time serving? Are they trying to feel a personal vendetta, looking for a payday, prove their loyalty, or chase the big wah? What do they want to achieve? Chumbucket here, I reckon, is just looking to feed his family. And after every raid into the city, he sends half his share of the bounty back to his wife and children. Knowing what your hero wants helps you to tell your story and might influence the things your character does on the tabletop. Chumbucket, for instance, isn't going to be taking any unnecessary risks, so he can make it back to his family in the end. His crewmate, Mad Dog Murphy, on the other hand, has little fear and even less sense, rushing into dangerous situations without a second thought. So here's a couple of other characters I've created in the past for different armies. Kurzag Grogwoofer hails from Black Marsh Barony in Gur and he had a pretty good life. He could eat when he wanted and had no shortage of skulls to bash in. Still, he was unsatisfied. He wanted to chase the great War, and one night he heard an old sailor in the tavern talk about the riches to be had across the coast of Tusks. So Grogwoofer beat his skull in, took his ship, which he rechristened Gork's Revenge, intimidated a crew to work for him, and set sail east for some good old-fashioned plundering. Over the years, Grogwoofer has collected a ragtag crew united in the single cause of skull smashing. They sail around the coast, raiding, pillaging, and generally being anti-skull. In fact, he began flying a flag with a picture of a crushed skull and the words, "Smash the skulls," underneath. But most impressively of all, he managed to tame a wyvern he found injured in the beast fens. Grogwoofer nursed it back to health before beating it into submission. The wyvern became so good at biting people's skulls in half that Grogwoofer called it Bitey McChompface. Together, they lead the motley crew of destructive pirates as they seek loot, skull smashing, and the War. The next character is Alexander J. Smith, and he grew up in Hammerhall, Gyra, the son of a weaponsmith. His family moved to Greywater Fastness long after the season of war and the Sylvaneth attack on the city from the Ghoul Mare. Jade Smith's father was employed by the city to assist in keeping the city's extensive artillery well maintained without breaking the uneasy alliance between the residents of the city and the Sylvaneth. As a young man, Alexander joined the city guard and quickly rose up the ranks, showing an aptitude for leadership and a charismatic personality that made him a favourite amongst the guard. Shortly after the Necroquake, the free cities of the mortal realms are called to glory in an attempt to quell the tide of the undead legions of Nagash. Alexander's company, accompanied by a member of the Collegiate Arcane named Deandra Springbrew, set out for the gate of the Seventh Shard, heading for Haish to make their stand. The journey took them through Greywater Reach, a cursed swampland shrouded in mist, with only a single trade route serving as safe passage. It's here that Alexander's company lost their way and stumbled into a contemplative Alariel, who saw them as the perfect pawns to play Bretonia. Placing the company under her thrall and transforming them to match her memories, she gave Alexander the name Juet de Marie and fashioned wings for his horse from her surroundings. To honour the nobility of the long-gone Bretonians, Alariel decided to fulfil the mission Alexander was tasked with and takes her new playthings to the gate and onto Haish. Well, finally, this is McCanwraith. His name's Terry. Terry was a lover of wine in life and a reaper of souls in death. Ironically enough, his favourite pub was called the Carn Reef. If plied with enough of Brionne's finest red, he was known to transfigure the bar snacks into a perfect singing replica of the great troubadour Johann the Slick. Not wanting the good life to end, Terry attempted an age-slowing spell that went terribly wrong, and his days of wine drinking abruptly gave way to a life of spirits. Well, that's all for this video. I'd love to hear about some of your unique characters and why you enjoy playing unique characters in your army in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching and subscribe if you want to hear more of your voice. Catch us later.